For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
And at what point, when do you ask the question, have you ever had to help take care of a loved one's final expenses? Like, do you ever ask that question?
I do, but I usually do it towards the end of my discovery because I want a little bit of time for me to, number one, you know, build a little bit more trust with them. You know what I'm saying? Where we can connect a little bit more. Because usually, like me, I'm always trying to make them laugh. I like to build them up as they talking. Oh, wow, that's cool. Oh, wow, you did? Oh man, I never did that before. What was that like? I like building them up,
Hmm.
making them feel good about themselves, making them feel good about me. And then usually towards the end of my discovery, before I move on, if they haven't mentioned somebody passed away or something like that, I ask them, have y'all ever had to, actually come out of pocket and pay somebody's funeral before? But by that time, when I do ask that question, they already like we didn't kind of cool. We didn't had a conversation. Like we good. Like I didn't connect it with them to a certain
Yeah.
level. You know, so I don't do it like at the beginning of because they don't know me. They don't trust me enough. I haven't really talked to them enough. So usually by towards the end of my discovery, we can identify the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, I think it's just I've been getting my questions all mixed up, and I don't know. I just need to learn more.
When you say getting your questions mixed up, what do you mean by that?
Like, there's parts where like I'll ask that question we just talked about. Like, have you ever dealt with a loved one's final expenses before? And they say no.
You know what, Mary? That's a blessing. Not everybody that I've talked to have been that blessed. But I'm gonna ask you the same thing I ask almost everybody. If our good Lord were to call you home next week or next month, how in the world is John gonna handle the cost of a burial if you don't have anything in place? And I've said this on the phone, which is true. That's one of the reasons why I got in this business. I've gone through having to bury somebody out of pocket. So listen, you are blessed, Miss Mary. And just move on. It don't have to be long, but you can say something to kind of imply or implicate how much of a blessing that is to not even have to worry about that or go through that before. Or however you want to, just don't make it a long story. I hear agents, they'll go into a story about themselves and it's like a 5, 10 minute story. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna bore the hell out these people. They didn't call to talk about you. So it's okay to relate with them and give like a similar thing that's building rapport, but just don't make it long, that's all. Absolutely, absolutely. But also, Brody, you also got to think how you're asking that question. So you got to ask that question with, like some empathy in it. Like, Mary, like, let me ask you, like most people I talk to, I don't, now everybody's different. Now, have you ever had to dig into your own pockets to pay for a loved one funeral before? So I ask it like I'm really honestly concerned, not just, all right, Mary, you ever paid a funeral out of your own pocket before? It's
Mhm.
about how you ask it.
Maybe I'm asking that question too early too. That's probably part of our problem.
Yeah, wait a little bit. Ask them more questions about them.